how do you choose where to attend college? You got into a bunch of nice places, but how do you choose where to go? Well, does the college have what's important to you now? Now being probably April, March or April, when you find out, assuming you didn't find out at an early one and already commit to going there, when you filled out your application, that could have been like July, August, now it's April, so you're several months smarter because at your age you're getting smarter. Every day you wake up in the morning, you're smarter than you were the day before. So you have more experience, you have more ideas. Maybe what you initially thought you wanted is not as important to you now. So does the college that you're thinking of going to, does it have what you want now, you, the April of 12th grade version of you? Are you going to need a certain GPA for grad school later on? Some graduate programs, some graduate fields require really high GPAs, such as medicine. If you want to go to medical school in the United States, you need a really high undergraduate GPA, preferably 3.7 or higher. Okay, that's pretty high. If you don't have that, your chances of going to a medical school in the United States are very low, right? So if you need that high GPA for grad school, you really want to make sure you choose a college where you can get a really high GPA, right? And that would probably not be a college where you were in the 50th percentile for test scores, especially at a big school where they don't have room for everybody and they have classes that are intentionally difficult for lower level students. And then the last main thing you want to consider with how you choose to attend is like, it has the stuff you want. Do you need certain grades? And what about the money aspects? Will going to college A save you money over going to college B? Will going to college B reasonably lead to a job that would make it worth it to have paid that surcharge? These are the things we're going to talk about. So, does the college have what's important to you now? For example, when I applied to college, I knew deep down in my soul and had known for 4 or 5 years that I wanted to study abroad in Mexico City with real Mexicans at a real Mexican university. I was committed to doing this. I required that my university offer this option, okay? But I also kind of thought I wanted to go to Stanford. But Stanford didn't offer a Mexico study abroad program in those days. They only had Spain. That was one of several deal breakers for me with Stanford, but that was one that was like super important to me, right? In a way that I felt very strongly and that I could understand. Whereas perhaps another reason I didn't go to Stanford was the cost, and that I had a fuzzier understanding of because, I was an 18-year-old who at that time had only ever made $8 an hour, and I couldn't really fathom the cost on a useful level. So when you're thinking about what's important to you, evaluate how have your plans changed since the summer when you wrote your application? What new ideas do you have? What new things have you discovered? What things have you just not been keeping up with and thus are maybe not so interested in anymore? So what about this idea of GPA? Are you going to need a certain GPA for grad school? Well, you do for medical school, you do for the super competitive professional schools, right? Certain law schools, certain business schools who would help to have really high grades. That would be more convincing than having, otherwise you're going to have to write something super brilliantly convincing to make up for the fact, to demonstrate that you're that smart with the low grades. So it's always easier to just have high grades. You have more options. And how do you know if your test scores can compare with other students' test scores? Well, you use something called the common data set, where all colleges put their information in there, and you can see very clearly what the profile is like of students who you would be in school with. And that will help you decide whether you can be academically successful there, if that's something you're anticipating needing to be. which is not everybody needs that. So what about the money thing? How do you decide finance-wise? Well, if you want to work on Wall Street, you should really go to an Ivy League school, and it might be worth the money. You have to figure out the added cost of going to an Ivy League. Let's say you want to work on Wall Street, and we know that you have a much better chance if you go to Princeton. Okay, and let's say you get into Princeton, but you also get into your local public university. You're going to have to figure out if the added cost of going to Princeton, including like trips home at the holidays, is going to be worth it to your family versus the expected return of getting the fancy job that you think you want now as an 18-year-old, but that who knows if you'll still want it when you're 21 or 22, right? Okay, so you get the point. The point is college is expensive, right? Now you're wondering, how can I save money on college? Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. If you'd like to talk further, I'm available for one-on-one video calls on Praxi. Just use the link.